Welcome friends, this is Emmy. I'm here to do another session of brain yoga with you from the way far north. So I brought a few things that I've found when I've been doing my walking, and I have more wonderful things to teach you today. So let's get started. Here's some of the materials that we're going to use today. Grab yourself an assortment of color pencils, just some basic things, and also a trusty pen that you like, a trusty pencil, and a blender stump or a Q-tip. So just a quick reminder before we get started, you are on Zen with Emmy on YouTube, and I'm real excited to be here with you. Grab whatever kind of paper you'd like to use. This is the one that I plan on using today. It's from Zentangle. It's 3.5 by 3.5. Very standard size, easy to use. And grab your pencil. And what I'm going to show you is very fun. And this is what it's going to look like, or your version of it, of course, which will be quite different. This is my version of honeyberries. And then, of course, there's a bee. He wants to play in the honeyberries, and your version will be different, and that's the way we want it. Everybody's things are different according to what they bring to the table. So start, as we do in Zentangle frequently, with pencil dots in the corners. Connect them wonky style, which means to say it's not perfect. If you're like me and you've had an extra cup of coffee today, getting prepared for our fun session, well, that's great. Now that I've got this in pencil, I'm going to continue on and I'm going to create a string. And my string is going to where I'm going to divide this pencil string, this pencil that I did, and I'm going to divide this in half. On all 4 sides, just eyeball it. I'm going to take a minute and divide it again, each section. And then we'll begin to fill this in. So what I'm going to do is draw a pencil line and then aura it, a secondary pencil line, on each of the 4 corners. If I don't exactly like the way these look, I can always change it up when I put pen to the paper. And I'm just trying to get a rough idea. Pencil is always made to be changed, not so much with pen, which is why I like to work first with pencil. So I'm going to start right in the middle of the bottom of my paper, and I'm going to make a wavy line off to the side, and then I'm going to come back here. I'm going to make another wavy line, and I have noticed, as you probably will, this is different every time I make it, and that's the fun of the thing. So allow yourself to know that it's going to look different than mine. It's just a string to get us started, and strings in pencil, of course, are made to be changed. And next thing I'm going to do is put my honey base. I've made this to look a bit like what I would consider a beehive. This is definitely what you would call a Zentangle inspired art, a Zia. There are a couple of patterns that we'll be using that can be replicated. They're from HQ. So definitely will be able to be replicated, and I will show these to you as we go along. Somewhere in the open space, I want to put my bee. And I don't want him to be too big. This is a fairly small design. I'm going to start with a small, kind of an orb for a head, a bit larger for the main body, and then back to this size here, the head size, elongated for the bee's body, or the thorax and the other part of the bee's body. And then I don't want to get too much detail. I can save that for when I add my pen here. Off of the base of his body, I'm going to put a wing on an angle, and then I'm going to do the other side. Kind of like a heart almost, don't you think? Just like that. Because this is Zentangle, I'll probably do some embellishments that I will go over in pen, and that will let me, what I really will like about this is that will form my shading. Otherwise, I do have my trusty eraser handy if I need it. And so now it's time to switch over to pen. Grab your 01 or whatever size you choose to use today. And I'm going to just lightly go over that pencil string that I made. And I'll come back up here. Again, turn my work, keep it in front of me. Take your time. There, no fire, no rush, no reason to hurry. Always feel free to pause me or speed me up, depending on your own individual need. Now the honeyberries are imaginary, and the ones that I envision are kind of on a thick woody stem, much like the one I created here for us. But I'm going to continue with adding my pen to this cute little vase we made. There. Now that I've got this, I'm going to come along here off my woody stem, and I'm going to create a series. I decided that these honeyberries are going to look like a bunch of grapes. And they are fairly smallish, as you can tell. So I don't really have room for anything in here, so I'm just going to make this little, tiny little line in there. Now the next thing I want to do is add another series to a couple other places. I think that you're going to want to do these again and again. They just look so cute. Very likely yours will not look precisely like mine. I really think that that's the beauty and the charm of Zentangle, everybody bringing their own ideas to the table. We'll get all the honeyberries on here first, and then we'll come back and add a few leaves. I like to really squish them to give the illusion that they're really tight, a tight bunch together. That's just how my mind sees them. Cute as they can be. I think I'll add a few more here. Cluster. I'm always very sorry when I have made these and I find that I'm finished. I have so much fun with this. Darken behind. Hanging down. Cute, cute, cute. let's get a few leaves on. The leaves are kind of what I would call on-the-job training. So, and I think that leaves should hang down, even though obviously there'd be a few going to the imaginary sky here. So I'm going to kind of put a bit of a dark mark there, and then I'm going to take something that's going to be creating into a stem. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to come around, and a second, and a third, back and around. Now, as near as I know, this is not a Zentangle pattern, but if it happens to be and someone out there knows the name of it, please fill me in. I'm always interested in giving credit where I can to people. Here's another leaf. It's going to overlap with the first one a bit. That one came a little flat, didn't it? Well, no harm in that. Make another leaf with a little dot there. And turn my work so that I can see what I got going on. If I were you, I'd practice these leaves a couple of times. Same as I did. I do think they're very, very cute. Let's do another one. Off, 2, 3, 4, and back. Change the shape if you like. Another leaf. There, really sweet. So you can certainly add more in here as you choose. I'm going to take off some of these corners with some thickening. It just adds a little more drama to the corners. And here too. Very fun. Okay, and then I will want to do a little darkening in here too, in the woody stem. And now I've got that pretty well the way I want it, so let's take a second and darken in our bee. Because I did him in pencil, he or she is made to be changed. I'm kind of leaving a little white space between there all the way up. And I'm also going to darken around and leave a little white for his eyes. Antennae are a little floppy. And the wing, which is kind of a gossamer almost, comes off of here on each side. Just a heart shape. Very fun. I can't wait to see yours. So that honeybee is going right in to the honeyberries. Time to get to our outside edges. What I'm going to do here first is put a series of orbs in between the double row of pencil that I put down. And these orbs, as you can see, the ones I'm making today, have a little size to them. Beautiful string, aren't they? And they remind me of carrying the honeyberries out here. So once I've got those, what I'm going to do is take a moment on each of these 4 sides, and I'm going to make a half an orb. Here's another one. And then I'm going to make what's known as poke leaf. Let's get a scrap paper here. So poke leaf is like this. It's a stick and a stick. And then I make an upside down smile, come back just a little ways, and go up like that. And connect, which is kind of a version of a very fun heart. I like to, especially on this tile, I'm going to take a little bit of a corner off like that. So practice that a couple times. The other one that we'll be doing is the ah pattern, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So I'm going to make that half orb, stick and a stick, and 2 more, so that I end up with a series of 3 sticks. Then I make the half smile, come back just a bit and out and in, and then the other side, out and in, and my last little bit is that treatment where I cut that little corner off. And then this one. We're going to do that all 4 sides. I'm going to make that half moon and a second one, stick and a stick, 2 and 3, and these will become our poke leaves. The frown, out and in, do it again. Almost forgot. Very, very fun. Last thing I want to do in these little half moons is put a series of sticks. And then I'm going to do this pattern called ah. It's also from Headquarters, and you can't help but say ah when you see it. So I'm going to do a stick, a space, and a stick. Then the other direction, a stick, a space, and a stick. Stick and a stick on the diagonals. And here. And then the most fun part of all is the whiskers. I don't know if you were able to watch my celebration video, but I certainly hope you will, and you do. And it is one of the tangles that I used in that video. So it's going to end up looking something like that. I have also seen it where people have added all sorts of embellishments, but that is roughly the pattern Ah. And I'm going to use that all in these open areas because it just seems so appropriate to me for this fun pattern that we've created together to have the Ah factor. And sometimes a little dot, dot, dot off. That's fun too. Your choice. Let's put a couple more around here. I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller because I have a smaller area. Maybe another one down here. And that seems like it's a good fit to me. Okay, kept my pen and grabbed my pencil because it's time for me to lay a bunch of shade on. First place I want to lay the shade on is right on the side of the stem of this very fun honeyberry tree. And I'm only, as you can see, laying it on pretty thick on one side. I also am going to do the middle of these. Oh, I left that. Forgot to put this little treatment in here. Little veins on that one. So in the middle of this, I'm going to come along here and lay some color on all the way around. So I'm going to do both sides and around here. Along. You can see I'm laying it on pretty thick, but I'm not being at all careful at this point. I am going to lay it on, and then I'm going to use my blender stump to help me to add the shade, which is so dramatic. It's so important to our whole piece here. Now that I'm all around, let's get a little bit of the Ah. Trying to leave a light area in the middle for drama. And then maybe I have enough to add a little bit to that poke leaf. Very nice. Grab your blender stump and get smudging. Some smudging going on here. It's good to have a plan when you're laying your shading on, but if you don't have a plan, it's gonna be fine. You go back and pick up whatever you feel you missed. You can always add more shading. That said, I have always heard it's a little like baking cookies. You don't want to have too much. So I do keep my eraser handy in case I find I have a little too much shading going on. Let's get that smudged here on the branches. Trying very hard to leave some cream color in here. Now what can I do about him? I like that bee and I don't want to do too much with him. I think I pretty much did what I wanted to with my shading. So now I'm going to grab the little bit of color that I have here. And I am only going to want to add a little bit to the honeyberries. So just in the corners, you see I'm kind of like a smile here. I'm going to add this honey color. I'm using my Prismas because I really, really like the way it goes, the color goes on, the wax color. And it looks real nice to me. That said, there's lots of color pencils you can use and have just as nice a treatment. And while I'm adding color, I'm going to carry it over to this outside area. See what I did there? It's not a ton. I just want to kind of have something, a little bit of a pop. And that's what color does. This seems like it's very orangish to me. My bee needs it. Maybe even there in his body. And then I want to add a little bit to this cute honey stem vase. So cute. I just hope you like it as much as I did. I don't want to add any more, I don't think. Let's take a minute and switch and get a little of a big pop of color into these honeyberries. Again, I'm doing the same thing I did before. I'm just kind of working quite quickly, as you can see. Just laying it on to each of these. Now, colors in the eye of the beholder. You should use the color scheme you want or not at all. And I really don't want to do anything else with that. So what I'm going to do, and I don't even want to blend those colors in. I think they look fabulous exactly as they are. And I think that's about all I wanted to do with this today. There's certainly more that you can do, but I really, really like the way it looks. Take a minute and sign wherever you want to put your initials. Cute as it can be. And that's our honeyberries. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please like our video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you. See you again soon, I hope. Bye. Happy summer.